On the morning of February 9, 1855, the rural communities of South Devon woke to a landscape covered in a fresh, freezing layer of snow. Stepping outside their homes, residents discovered a crisp, unbroken line of hoof-like impressions freshly pressed into the morning frost. The tracks were remarkably uniform. A typical animal leaves a staggered trail. These prints moved in a perfect single file, suggesting a creature walking upright on two legs. This geometric precision suggested the tracks belonged to no ordinary animal, creating a sense of unease that only deepened as more reports began to surface from the surrounding countryside. The event was massive in scope, with reports of a continuous trail spanning between 40 to 100 miles across multiple towns in a single night. The trail continued vertically, scaling 14-foot stone walls without disturbing the snow on the ridges, and marching over the steep pitches of thatched roofs. In several villages, the prints were found leading directly into and out of enclosed drainpipes barely 4 inches in diameter. Eventually, the tracks reached the edge of the icy River Exe, stopped at the bank, and resumed in perfect alignment on the opposite shore. This map shows the footprint trajectory intersecting with the wide expanse of the Exe estuary. At this point, the entity would have needed to cross 2 miles of open water to continue its journey, a feat that eliminated any remaining zoological explanations. Because the trail seemed to ignore gravity and geography, the local population moved away from natural logic and began searching for a supernatural cause. In 1855, the culture of South Devon was deeply rooted in biblical literalism. To these rural communities, an upright cloven hoofprint was the traditional signature of the devil himself. Panic led to mobilization. Residents formed armed patrols, carrying rifles and lanterns into the woods to track the visitor down. The search provided no answers, and even the local hunting hounds reportedly returned from the woods terrified, refusing to follow the scent. Local vicars declared the footprints to be a divine warning, a message that successfully drew terrified crowds back into their congregations. By validating the supernatural theory, these institutional leaders maintained their moral authority at the cost of public reason. Once publications like the Illustrated London News began reporting the story, the localized alarm turned into a national sensation. Distant naturalists and readers flooded the papers with conflicting ideas, suggesting everything from escaped kangaroos to giant badgers or even unprecedented hopping frogs. This national attention permanently warped the original accounts, turning a regional meteorological curiosity into a sensationalized Victorian myth. After the initial media storm, official interest in the case quietly faded away, despite the massive public concern. Behind the scenes, Reverend H.T. Ellacombe was collecting first-hand letters and accurate tracings of the prints, but he explicitly marked this evidence not for publication. This archive remained hidden in a church office, gathering dust until it was accidentally rediscovered nearly a century later in 1952. This hidden evidence suggests that local authorities made a deliberate choice to withhold the facts, ensuring the supernatural narrative remained unchallenged. Modern analysis points toward a much more grounded culprit, the common wood mouse. When these mice hop, they leave a cluster of 4 paw prints. Under the morning sun, these small indentations melt and expand, merging into a single U-shaped mark that resembles a cloven hoof. The 100-mile trail was likely a combination of these melting tracks, wandering livestock, localized hoaxes, and dragging ropes from a secret military balloon. The story of the devil's footprints illustrates how easily natural anomalies can be stitched into a terrifying, enduring myth when a population is primed by superstition and guided by authority.